Rockat's brand new keyboard release of the Vulcan II Mini definitely warrants some attention for some super fast optical switches to their dual LEDs, which is definitely one of the more unique features of the board. And my favorite thing of all with this board is going to be that 65% format, giving you that nice balance of being compact but still holding on to some of the useful keys. You can get the Vulcan II Mini in either black or white on their website, with the board we're looking at today being in that black colorway. And the look of the Vulcan II Mini is exactly the same as the other Vulcans. Has that same floating keycap design along with those low profile keycaps, which you don't have to use those with it. You do have the option of switching them out with other keycaps, which is really nice to have that available as well, just in case you don't like the look of these lower profile keycaps. The main difference though in look is of course going to be in the name Mini. It's going to be in that smaller form factor of 65%, and with this size you are going to lose some of those things like your F row, the number pad, but you're also going to hold on to some things that I really like having, like your arrow keys and that delete key, which you would not find on some 60% keyboard options. Box contents are very simple, with you getting your keyboard, a USB-C to USB-A cable, then finally just a quick start guide. The keycaps and switches are set on top of a nice anodized aluminum top plate, which provides a lot of rigidity to the board, with the rest of the housing on the board just being all plastic. But even with that, this thing is definitely solid as a rock and not even going to budge when putting a lot of pressure on it. On the bottom of the board, you'll find a lot of grippy rubber down here, with Roccat opting to use a more unique design, having longer strips or feet down there, which I think is a great idea because not only does this hold the board in place better, it just makes it really nice and stable too. So I hope to see more companies start to using this design with the rubber feet. I think this is a really great idea. You do get also some flip out legs down here, which allow you 2 different levels of incline adjustment. On the back of the board, you also do get a USB-C port, which is towards the middle, and though they do include a braided USB-C cable that you get in the box, it definitely can get the job done. It's not the nicest cable, being a little bit more stiff and not the most flexible though. Fortunately, you still can use other USB-C cables with it. The port is wide enough to fit other types of cables, so if you prefer a different one like myself, you can fit that in the back of the board. Unfortunately, they are using the same ABS low profile keycaps, which I just don't like that much because they pick up finger oils really easily and they just feel somewhat greasy after you've been using them for a little while. I'd love to see this change to maybe a double shot PBT in the future from Roccat, especially with this price point of the Mini. Again though, these can be changed out to a double shot PBT keycap if you want. It would just be nice to have that included on the board when you do get it. But I will warn you, if you do decide to change those keycaps out, it will also change the sound profile of it, which you'll hear in the sound test. Roccat though is using their Titan II optical switches in the Mini, which are very fast actuation with 1.4 millimeters travel distance and requiring about 45 grams of force to actually activate. They do have a very nice smooth linear feel and are pretty quiet overall, but still pretty clacky when you are tapping on these keycaps on top of that metal plate. The Rgb is definitely marketed heavily on this board, and with good reason. It's definitely a standout feature. It's very eye-catching and one of the most impressive boards I've seen in this regard as far as the Rgb goes. It's very bright, and that feature of having those dual LEDs is really cool, making for those super smooth transitions and lighting effects, but I do wish it did let you customize the Rgb on each half of that switch when it comes to the actual LED itself individually, but that's not an option that's available. But still, of course, the Rgb looks great. The hardest thing to swallow with the Vulcan II Mini is going to be that price point of $150, which I personally think might be a little bit steep for what it does offer. Though yes, you definitely get a really solid keyboard with some great features. It's hard not to consider some of the other options on the market currently, things like the Huntsman Mini, Corsair's K65. I really do love everything the board does have to offer though. One of the biggest things I find lacking is with those ABS keycaps, which I really think should be upgraded to some double shot PBT in the future, especially for the price point and where this is sitting at in the market. So I can definitely recommend the board, but I would take into consideration some of these drawbacks and what the competition has to offer. If you guys enjoyed the video, definitely hit the like button for me, and do consider subscribing for more content just like this in the near future. Check out some of these other keyboard reviews on the screen right now.